Hello and welcome to Auditdata's demo of the Measure software and hardware. My name is Erin Romaine and I am the Customer Success Specialist / Audiology Expert at Auditdata in the US. I'm also a board certified hearing instrument specialist and have been working in the audiology field for the last 7 years. So first I want to start off with the hardware. I want to show you what the audiometer looks like. So this is the audiometer unit here. This is the top of the machine and then the bottom. So I want to go over why we made it the way we did and go over a couple of the pain points that we heard from other audiologists and specialists regarding what they're dealing with their current audiometers and what they would like to see with a new technology audiometer. So that's the first thing. We wanted to consult the professionals and see, where those pain points were. So there's 5 main pain points. The first one being cable management. So I know from working in clinic, usually there's a lot of cables everywhere and it's hard to know what plugs into where, what cable is used for what. So we wanted to try to make this as easy as possible and as seamless as possible as far as the cable management goes. So if you can see the bottom of the audiometer here, we have color-coded ports that are color-coded to the different transducers or the talkback microphone, things like that. You'll be able to very easily plug them into the bottom here. And then there's a little cutout where the cables can all file through the back of the audiometer. The second thing was the size, as well as, how it looks. So we wanted something that looks modern and updated and different than those really old technology audiometers that sit on your desk. So that's where we came up with this design. We wanted to build it high instead of wide so that it takes up less room on your desk as well. So when we put the speaker unit on top of the audiometer, this is what the two look like together here. So we wanted to make sure that, we could just give you as much room as possible on your desk and this taking up very little. The third thing is portability. So we wanted to make sure that the device can be portable and is small enough to be able to, carry in a backpack or a bag along with your laptop and transducers, to be able to do portable audiometry, to go to nursing homes or health fairs to be able to perform, hearing tests and screenings. With that comes our fourth point, which is that the unit is easy to set up. So it is very much a plug-and-play system. Like I said, the transducers will plug in easily, and then you have a USB cable that you can plug into the computer and you'll be up and running. And the fifth and final pain point was just having a robust device, a reliable device that is always going to be working. I know in the field, in audiology, we, deal with technical issues a lot. And so we want to eliminate that from our software and from our hardware, that we did create a reliable device and it is robust. It is going to work all the time. And we do stand behind that. So next I wanted to explore the software a little bit. So this is the main screen of the software. When you pull up Measure in NOAA, this is what's going to pop up here. This is what we call our dashboard. So we have the different sessions up top here. These are anytime, you've gone in here and you've saved any test results, that's what's going to pop up at the top there. Client data is below that. So any client information here. And then on the right-hand side, we have any recent measurements that we performed. So the most recent audiometry will pop up, most recent real ear, and speech mapping. By clicking into these different tests, you'll be able to see a history of that test performed. And then just by clicking on this person here, you'll go back to the dashboard. On the left-hand side, these are our modules. So we say we have a modular-based system, meaning that these are the different tests that you can purchase. With these, you'll get a license that our onboarding team will help implement into the software. and you'll be able to have whatever modules you need pop up here. So if you only need the pure tone audiometry, or if you just want the pure tone and the REM, you can pick and choose what modules and what tests that you want. So I want to go into the pure tone audiometry tab here, just to go through the screen and show some different features on here. So right now we just have a dummy audio here. Right and left ear are separated, but we can do single view. So up at the top, you can click on single view and both ears will overlap each other there. And you can also click on this high frequency button here. That'll extend the frequency range for both ears. So you could test all the way up to 16K if you wanted to. And then we do have different overlays. So in terms of, counseling patients, if you wanted to put up the severity of hearing loss or the speech letters, I know those are pretty common ones. We have different overlays that you can add on top of your audios. And then lastly, at the bottom here, under history data, if you click on that, you'll be able to put previous audios underneath the current one if you wanted to compare results. So you can check off a bunch of them if you wanted a bunch of them on the screen, or if you just wanted one, you can just click one of them there, click OK, and then you'll see that previous audio on the screen here too. And then just by clicking clear history, that'll get rid of it there. And then along the side here, if you click into these tests here, so pure tone bone, pure tone air, you'll be able to see the pure tone averages here, as well as the transducers that were used, and then it's time stamped as well. All right, so we're going to close out of here and go into just our tools up top. I want to go over just the tools and the help tab here. So if we go into tools and we select test definitions, this will pop up with our different modules. So our pure tone, speech, REM, speech mapping, and then the hearing instrument test box. We can go into each of these and customize the test to our liking. So if we click on pure tone, for instance, and we click edit here, we'll be able to edit the name of the test. We can decide what transducer it defaults to, what signal it defaults to. We can change the starting level, the starting masking level. So there's a lot we can customize in this screen. We can choose the different frequencies that we want to be tested. As well as if we go into the rules tab, we can select if certain frequencies are mandatory. So the ones with the check marks here, those are going to be mandatory. I'm going to go over that with you in a second so you can see what that means and how the software will nudge you or prompt you to complete these tests if you haven't. But this is where you can select or unselect if certain frequencies are mandatory. And then lastly, masking assistant, you can enable masking hints. So same kind of thing if you wanted the software to present a pop-up to you, letting you know that you need to mask, you can enable that here. We also have a masking assistant that will do the masking for you. So it will change the levels, it'll change the level of the masking and the tone, and you just have to select if the patient heard the stimulus or not. So now I want to go into the settings tab. We'll just touch on the key mapping manager here. So if we click on this, you'll be able to customize your keyboard. So if you want to change, that the S on the keyboard is going to save a threshold, or the M on the keyboard is going to start the masking, you can customize this to your liking. So anything you want to change in here, you can do and customize it fully for your clinic and your preference. And then lastly, I want to go into the help tab. So if we click on the help tab, I want to highlight the how-to videos here. So we do have a ton of e-learning on our website that highlights our measure system and how to use it, how to navigate it. So this, if you click on this here, the how-to videos, it'll take you to that e-learning, as well as the remote support. I wanted to highlight that as well. If there's ever any issues or any questions, we can remote into your computer and, help you out. We will have a support team that is there and ready to support you if needed. So now I want to highlight this workflow bar at the top of the screen here. So what a workflow is basically your test battery. So for a hearing test, for example, what tests are you performing during a hearing test, and in what order do you want to perform those tests? So workflows are totally customizable based on the clinician or the clinic. You can determine, what tests you want to perform and in what order, and if those tests are mandatory or not. Workflows are important because they help create consistency between different clinics or different clinicians. So if, you have multiple offices and you're wanting the testing to be consistent between the offices, this is a great way to do that. As well as, different specialists too. If you want things to be pretty consistent between different specialists, this is a great way for that to be handled as well. So what we're going to do, we're just going to start a workflow up at the top here so you can see the process of this. So I'm going to select new patient hearing test for the purpose of this demo. I created these 3 tests in this workflow. So we have pure tone air, word recognition score, and pure tone bone. And these asterisks at the top here means that these are all mandatory as well. So we're going to click start here. And immediately the software brings us to the pure tone air module. So that is where we are. So we're just going to start and kind of make a dummy test here. For the right ear, we're going to do everything the right way. We're going to hit all those frequencies that are mandatory that we need to. So everything looks good there. Moving on to the left ear, we're going to skip a few, just so we can see what the software does when that happens. Okay, so as you can see, we got some pop-ups here. So this is what we call nudging in our system. So it's like a little nudge or a little prompt letting you know that you haven't completed a mandatory frequency. So once we hover over it, it says completeness warning, we need to complete 500 hertz. So we're going to complete it here, and then that little exclamation point disappeared. I want to highlight this as well up at the top here. So this box turned yellow. This means that the software is nudging us. It's telling us that something needs to be completed. Once we complete all of the nudging, it'll turn green. So now everything looks good to the software and we can hit next step. So we're going to move on to word recognition score. Normally we could just enter our, results in here. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to skip it fully. We're going to go to next step just so we can see what happens. So this box now turns red. That means we totally skipped a mandatory test, and we will come back to that in a second. But I just wanted to highlight these colors here. So now for pure tone bone, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create an air bone gap. Just to see, again, the software is nudging us. It's letting us know that masking is recommended because we have that air bone gap. And we're seeing, again, the yellow up top here. If we bring these down to where we don't have any masking issues, again, everything's green, everything looks good. So we constantly have the software running in the background, and it's doing these consistency checks. This is a great way for hearing care providers to, ensure that they're adhering to best practices in terms of testing. So now what we're going to do, since we completed most of the tests, we're going to leave this one red because when we finish this workflow, we're going to get a pop-up window that is saying that we didn't complete all the necessary tests and, asking why we didn't. So we are required to put in an explanation as to why we didn't complete that word recognition score before we finish the workflow. So we're just going to put test in here. We'll click OK. And then it lets us exit out of that workflow. So where does all this information go? Where does all this clinical data regarding the nudging or the skip tests, what can we do with it? So we do have a cloud-based system that all this clinical data goes to that cloud-based system, and it's converted into easy-to-read dashboards or graphs that empower you to make more informed, data-driven decisions based on your clinical data. So the whole point of our cloud-based system is to be able to optimize your clinics and get access to data and analytics that you haven't been able to before. So if you're someone with multiple clinics or multiple specialists, this cloud system will let you see that oversight into these different clinics or different areas. You will be able to see, are people using the workflows, how long it's taking for them to be completed, are people skipping tests, or how many people are getting those nudging prompts, come up during the tests. You'll also be able to see all your calibrated transducers and when they're due for their calibration, so you'll be able to track that as well. There's a lot in the cloud system, and I don't want to touch on it too much in this conversation, but it is a way to get the data and analytics from the testing software and optimize it in the best way possible for your clinics. I hope this demo was valuable, and hopefully you can see how all of our systems work together to really set you and your company up for success.